we have Dr. James Bosbotinis joining us from London, who is also a geopolitical security and geopolitical analyst. Thank you so much for joining us here on Asia One. Well, look, President Trump and Field Marshal Asim Munir have spoken directly, while Iran's foreign minister has also been in contact with Pakistan's military leadership. What do you think, how important are these channels in bringing the two sides closer to an agreement?
Thank you for having me. Obviously, having a channel that is trusted and reliable by both sides is absolutely critical to the continued diplomatic process. It is most valuable that both Tehran and Washington see that Islamabad can play an important role in trying to build some semblance of trust between the two parties. So it's absolutely key that Pakistan is providing its good offices in this case.
And look, well, if a ceasefire is announced, what are likely to be the biggest challenges in ensuring that it actually holds this time?
I think the biggest challenges will be the continuing huge gulf between the United States and Iran. Both sides have a set of objectives which they are committed to. For example, Iran wishes sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz recognized. The United States is very clear that Iran must give up all of its nuclear ambitions, allow freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz with absolutely no restriction. And ultimately, the United States would like to see Iran give up its missile program and support for its regional proxies, amongst other things. So there is this huge gulf between Tehran and Washington. And until both sides make compromises, any ceasefire will be extremely fragile.
Look, well, given the pattern of collapsed ceasefires in April, June, and July, we see there's a lot of this, feeling, not even the feeling, but that could be a fact of mistrust when we talk about ceasefires, because as I mentioned, April, June, July, it all collapsed. What would generally need to be different this time for an agreement to hold?
I think it would have to be some real tangible compromise by both sides, or if one side were to offer concessions which up till now have not been possible. So, for example, the United States agreeing to Iranian terms, or Iran embarking on major concessions to the United States, both of which are really neither politically possible. It's hard to see either the United States or Iran making the type of unilateral concession that would please the other. And it's hard to see Iran and the United States making compromises on both their parts to actually bring about a lasting and reasonably durable ceasefire agreement. I mean, we've seen just this week, on the 24th of August, a reported strike against a merchant vessel transiting the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran is still threatening shipping, and sooner or later, I expect we will see a return to military escalation.
Well, Dr. Bosbotinis, looking ahead, though, what is the biggest factor that could still derail the expected ceasefire and negotiations included?
I think, again, it is, as I've stressed in my remarks, it is this vast gulf between Iran and the United States. Donald Trump, for the US, is very clear that he expects Iran will never obtain a nuclear weapon, and he expects Iran to make massive concessions in that part. And we've seen this week Operation Economic Outcast launched, which aims to strangle the Iranian economy until the regime concedes and does what the United States expects of it. Likewise, on Iran's part, whilst there are elements within the regime that see negotiations as the way forward, there is also the fact that the IRGC has seen its position greatly strengthened in recent months. And, we're seeing rhetoric regarding taking the offensive and, extracting concessions out of the United States and fighting, if necessary, to secure a better settlement for Iran. So there is this huge gulf between both sides. Neither side really wants to make concessions, and both sides see that they have got the potential, if necessary, to escalate and try to secure, through whether economic coercion or military force, a better deal on their part. So there is certainly the ingredients in place for continued and significant escalation. And in that respect, a limited military escalation, for example, around the Strait of Hormuz, say, for example, a US response to continued Iranian targeting of shipping, could precipitate an accelerated escalation, but as you get into an action-reaction cycle, and that leads to inadvertent higher escalation. It's an extremely unstable and dangerous situation.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. James Bosbotinis, joining here with us on Asia One. I appreciate your time.